You are bored right now. Maybe not this exact second, but today, at some point, you felt it. That restless, hollow, slightly irritating feeling that something is missing. So you picked up your phone, you scrolled, you switched apps, put it down, picked it up again 30 seconds later. But here is what nobody ever asks. What did people do before the phone? Before the TV? Before the book? What did a human being do when there was nothing to do? What did boredom look like when you were sitting in a cave 40,000 years ago with a full stomach and nowhere to be? The real answer is far stranger than you think. They made art. Not planned art. Not gallery art. They just started drawing on whatever was in front of them. Cave walls, bones, flat rocks. They pressed their hands against stone, blew pigment around them, and left a perfect handprint in the dark. Scientists have found these handprints all over the world. Spain, Indonesia, Argentina. Civilizations that never met, never spoke, never knew each other existed. And they all did the exact same thing. They pressed a hand to the wall and said, in the only way they knew how, I was here. You have done this. You have doodled on a notebook margin during a meeting, arranged food into patterns for no reason, stacked rocks at the beach. That is the same impulse, 40,000 years old, still running. They also told stories, the rambling, wandering kind that start with something real and drift into something that definitely did not happen. Researchers who have lived alongside modern hunter-gatherer groups say that a huge chunk of the evening around the fire is just storytelling. Someone starts, someone adds to it, it gets funnier, scarier. Someone falls asleep in the middle and nobody cares. You do this too. Every time you say, okay, so you are not going to believe this. Ancient campfire behavior. Running in a modern kitchen. Adults played. Games with rocks. Throwing competitions. Wrestling that was not entirely serious. The idea that play is just for children is a modern invention. For most of human history, a grown adult lying in the grass flipping a stone for 20 minutes was just an afternoon. There was music, drums from hollow logs, flutes carved from bird bones. Some of the oldest instruments ever found are over 40,000 years old. Someone picked up a bone, noticed it made a sound, and spent the next hour figuring out how to make more. Not because anyone asked, because they were bored and a bone made a noise, and that was interesting enough. That is the thing about ancient boredom that is so different from yours. It had no exit, no app to make it stop in 30 seconds. If you were bored, you stayed bored long enough for something to happen inside of it. Long enough for your hands to start moving on their own. Long enough for an idea to crawl up out of the quiet. Your boredom is never allowed to finish its sentence. Every time that restless feeling starts, you kill it. Immediately. Reflexively. You hand it a screen and it goes quiet. And nothing comes out of it. No handprint on the wall. No bone flute. No story that goes nowhere and ends up somewhere surprising. There is a cave in France called Chauvet, sealed for 20,000 years. When explorers opened it in 1994, they found paintings so detailed and full of motion that scientists refused to believe how old they were. Animals running across stone. Perspective that should not have existed yet. Someone who lived before writing, before cities, before farming, sat in a dark cave with a torch and made something beautiful. Not because it was their job, almost certainly because it was a slow afternoon and they had charcoal and a wall and nothing else to do. The most stunning art in human history came out of boredom. Boredom is not the absence of something. It is the beginning of something. It is the state your brain enters right before it starts reaching, combining, creating. But you have to let it get there. You have to survive the uncomfortable part. The part that feels like wasting time. The next time boredom hits, wait. Just a minute longer than you normally would. See what crawls up out of the quiet. See what your hands want to do. You might end up with nothing, or you might end up with something you did not expect. Something small, something yours. Just like the person who pressed their hand against the cave wall and blew color around it in the dark. Not for anyone, just because they were bored and the wall was right there. You are bored right now, and that might be the most human thing about you.